My name is Marcus Chen, and I used to take the 11:47 p.m. train from downtown station every weeknight. For 3 years, it was the most reliable thing in my life. Punctual, empty, safe. I'm from Ridgemont, a sprawling city where the metro never sleeps, and neither do the corporate analysts who miss the last dinner with their families. That was me. Every night, same platform, same car, same vacant seats. I trusted that train more than I trusted most people. I shouldn't have. It was a Tuesday in late October when everything changed. The platform was deserted as usual. Just the hum of fluorescent lights and the distant rumble of the approaching train. I remember the air felt heavier that night, like the ventilation had failed, and there was this faint metallic smell, almost like old pennies left in the rain. I stepped into the second car, my usual spot, and sat near the back corner where I could stretch my legs and close my eyes for the 40-minute ride home. The doors hissed shut. The train lurched forward, and that's when I noticed him. He was sitting 6 seats ahead of me, facing my direction. I hadn't seen him board. I would have noticed. I always notice. The car had been empty when I entered. He wore a dark gray suit, old-fashioned like something from the 70s, with wide lapels and a thin black tie. His head was tilted slightly downward, but I could see his face, pale, almost luminous under the flickering cabin lights. His eyes were open, unblinking, fixed on the floor between us. I looked away quickly, chalking it up to exhaustion, but my skin prickled with unease. The train rattled through the first tunnel. When we emerged, I glanced up again. He hadn't moved, not an inch. His hands rested perfectly still on his knees, fingers splayed. No phone, no bag, no movement of breathing. I tried to focus on my own reflection in the window, but I kept catching glimpses of him in my peripheral vision. Then between stations the lights flickered. Once, twice. And in that strobing darkness I saw him stand. He didn't rise the way people do, he simply straightened as if pulled upright by invisible strings. And he started walking toward me. Not fast, but with a measured, deliberate pace. Each step perfectly timed with the clack of the train wheels. My heart hammered against my ribs. I wanted to move, to change seats, to pull the emergency brake, but my body locked up. When he was 3 seats away, I finally saw his eyes clearly. They were black. Not brown, not dark. Completely black, like someone had carved holes into his skull. And they were looking directly at me. I forced myself to stand, stumbling backward toward the connecting door between cars. My hands fumbled with the handle, slick with sweat, and I finally yanked it open, spilling into the next car. It was empty. I turned to look through the small window in the door I'd just come through. He stood on the other side, inches from the glass, staring. His mouth opened slowly, too wide, and though I couldn't hear him through the door, I could read his lips. "You took my place." Panic took over. I ran through car after car, each one empty, each one identical. The train wasn't stopping. We'd passed at least 2 stations without slowing down. I pulled out my phone to call for help, but there was no signal, and the time on my screen was frozen at 11:47. I kept running until I reached the front car, pressing myself against the driver's cabin door, pounding, screaming for the conductor. No response. And when I turned around, he was there again, standing in the center of the aisle. This time, others stood behind him. Men, women, all in outdated clothing, all with those same hollow black eyes. I remembered then what my grandmother used to tell me about the old metro line before they renovated it in the 90s. There had been an accident, a derailment on the 11:47 route. 37 people died in the tunnel. The city buried the story, rerouted the tracks built over the tragedy, but some stories don't stay buried. The lights went out completely. In the darkness, I felt cold fingers brush against my neck, my face, my hands. I heard whispers in languages I didn't recognize, and beneath it all, the rhythmic clack-clack-clack of the wheels. When the lights came back on, I was alone again, and the train was slowing. We pulled into Ridgemont Central, my stop. The doors opened. I ran. I never took that train again. I started driving, even though the commute takes twice as long and cost me a fortune in parking. But here's the thing. I still see him sometimes, in reflections, in crowds, always wearing that gray suit, always watching. And 3 weeks ago, my coworker, Jamie, mentioned she'd started taking the 11:47 to save time. I warned her. I told her everything. She laughed it off, said I'd been working too hard. Yesterday, she didn't show up to work. Her phone goes straight to voicemail. And last night I dreamed I was back on that train, and Jamie was sitting in my old seat, staring at the floor, her eyes turning black. If you've ever taken a late-night train and felt like you weren't alone, if you've seen passengers who don't quite belong, leave a comment below, share your story. Because I need to know, am I the only one who got off that train? Or are some of you still riding it night after night without even realizing you never made it home? Subscribe if you want to hear more. And whatever you do, check the time before you board. If it's 11:47, wait for the next one,